wanted to ask you in terms of this series is for women, and women who possibly are more introverted, ambiverted. Over time, what I have found is that in the clients that I've had and dealt with readers in my books, it can really chip away at one's self-confidence. If they're, let's say, in a meeting you described where they're never speaking up and then people say, well, they have nothing to share, when things come up for promotion, it can have some very negative consequences within the traditional, working world. So I just wonder if you have any recommendations geared towards more introverted women, not to change who they are, but how can they really make the best of that situation and really move forward in their careers?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that really stand out to me. Again, there are a lot of people who think about all the can'ts, like what can't they do and what they've already done. And, my voice wasn't noticed here or there. You go where you put your focus. So watch out for that kind of thinking, because it's usually a part of the landscape. And there's also people who have heard your voice and you have been heard in a meeting or noticed by someone. So just trying to keep a balanced perspective, I think is helpful, and only not necessarily because it's fully accurate, right? But you might be right. Maybe 90% of the time your voice isn't heard, but focusing on that 10% gives you the fuel for the rest, which is really elevating your voice, continuing to elevate your voice in the future. And so on that part, I think it's really important to not worry about being loud or interrupting or mimicking extroverts to elevate your voice. You really don't have to be them to be heard. I think what I've noticed with myself and introverted leaders that are successful is they tend to put their focus on being meaningful. So it's, that one time that person speaks, we really listen to them because they don't really speak up very much. So it's like, how can you cultivate that kind of presence where people are saying that about you? Like, oh, the one time she speaks, we really listen because we know it's meaningful. And so spending that time, I think, is important to have a perspective. Don't go around trying to mimic other people and their styles. And even if you don't think of that perspective in the moment, it's always worth saying, like, say it later and use your different mediums. Like maybe you didn't say it out loud in the moment, but you thought of it later and that was the meaningful thing you wanted to contribute. Email it or Slack it or whatever, use your asynchronous mediums to still share your perspective. And I think that's really important, is to not think because the time has passed. There's no such thing as the time has passed. There's your voice, right? So like, don't discard your voice just because the moment has passed. So what? You might spark a new conversation in a new direction because you went back to something and it was meaningful to you. It was a great alternative perspective.